Terry Bradshaw, quarterback, Pittsburgh Steelers, injured October 28, 1973, shoulder separation. Terry Hanratty, backup man from Notre Dame, number 5, injured just a week ago. Bad wrist, can't play tonight. Bradshaw could if utterly needed, but hasn't worked for a long time. Thus, this young man, number 17, Jefferson Street Joe Gilliam from Tennessee State, black quarterback. Look at him, in there till the last possible moment. Then the quick release, hitting Ron Shanklin. Joe Gilliam getting his shot in the wake of all the talk through all of the years about black quarterbacks in the National Football League. A confident young man, a superb athlete, but millions watching tonight. I asked him about the pressures. Do you feel an almost overwhelming pressure? Do you think if you do that it will affect your performance adversely tonight?
Well, you know, I think pressure is a state of mind, and a person can either let it work against him or work for him. You know, there's enough rigmarole and razzmatazz with the press and the news media and the people, and we kind of let them take care of all the pressure because we got other things to think about.
15 seconds there.
Stand by, all cameras. Stand by, videotape. Stand by, slow-mo.
Stand by to roll videotape in 5.
And roll tape. 4, 3, 2, 1. Take tape.
From the Orange Bowl in Miami, Florida, where they like to brag about their weather, and well, they should. They have a perfect night for football. And it's the Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Miami Dolphins. ABC's NFL Monday Night Football is brought to you by Gillette, makers of the Gillette Track 2 two-bladed shaving system. It's the closest thing to a perfect shave. And by Ford and your Ford dealers, who invite you to take a close look at the 1974 Ford cars and trucks. The closer you look, the better we look.
Well, the scene said, as Frank said, the Orange Bowl in Miami, Florida, a wildly enthusiastic crowd, a game that needs absolutely no buildup. The Super Bowl champion Miami Dolphins with another great team against the Pittsburgh Steelers with a powerhouse team that must now fight for its playoff life. Just take a look at the standings in the Central Division of the AFC. Pittsburgh at 8-3. Over Cleveland at 7-3-2, and Cincinnati in the wake of its stunning upset of Minnesota at 8-4. And by the way, under the new system of counting ties as a half win and a half loss, Cincinnati and Cleveland are tied. Thus, Pittsburgh, in order to avoid a three-way tie, must beat Miami tonight. But what a job. The Dolphins, even though they clinched in their division a few weeks ago, are a team of irrepressible pride and self-respect. Witness the way they beat Dallas on Thanksgiving Day, when Dallas desperately needed a victory and Miami didn't. Yet Miami held together because of the brilliant leadership most think of that man, Coach Don Shula, who's produced the extraordinary Miami record. But I think we should go back to the Steelers and to tell you about Jefferson Street Joe Gilliam, who'll figure so prominently tonight, and the rest of the Steelers. Who else but my colleague Dandy Don Meredith, now absent of mustache, and we're happy to see that.
Oh, well, tell it like it is, Howard. Tell it like it is. Jefferson Street Joe. Where's number 17? That it can't be all bad. From Nashville, Tennessee, still on the plus side. Went to Pearl High School. That's all right, too. The thing I like about him is, as you said in that opening statement, you know, pressure is a state of mind, and he's got a good state of mind right now. He thinks he can do it, and I like folks that way. In Pittsburgh, they've been hollering defense, defense for years, and they should. Greenwood, Green, Holmes, and White. That's the front four. Those guys are really good. They don't stop them running. Those folks in the back pick them off. They've picked off 28 interceptions this year, and that's why they're here tonight. It was my preseason pick for the AFC to be in that Super Bowl, as you say. Now, we're talking about the Super Bowl champions, and that's the Miami Dolphins, and who knows more about them? Well, maybe somebody does, but nobody in the booth than Frank Gifford. Frank, would you tell us about him?
You look funny.
I know. I am funny.
The Miami Dolphins, Howard mentioned that they have a lot of pride. They beat Dallas Thanksgiving Day. It didn't matter. They had clinched their division already the week before. A lot of personal things going, too, for these Miami Dolphins. You'd like to see Mercury Morris get his second 1,000-yard year. Well, Larry Zonka would like to have his, too, and they're close. They can possibly do it. They can also tie an NFL record, a two-season record for wins, regular season wins, if they win tonight, tying the Oakland Raiders of 1967-68. We'll be back with the kickoff, the Dolphins versus the Steelers, after this.
You've been hopping these mountains for 3 days straight, but flying the bush was your choice. You know you only go around once, so you take your gusto where you find it. In your living, in your beer.
Come around, take the best that life's given. Come around, taste the gusto of Schlitz.
Injector shavers, the best shave of your life is just ahead. Introducing Track 2 twin injector blades. Twin blades that fit your injector razor. Now you can get twin blade closeness and safety. As the first edge shaves, it lifts the whisker so the second edge can shave it again. With closeness and safety never possible from injector shaving until Track 2 twin injector blades. New from Gillette. For the best injector shave of your life.
Contractor Tom Spencer, Wethead. Contractor Tom Spencer, the dry look. Chemist Wayne Schwartzman, Wethead. Chemist Wayne Schwartzman, the dry look. Importer Joe McDonald, Wethead. Importer Joe McDonald, the dry look.
The dry look from Gillette. #1 aerosol hair control. Adjustable valve, sprays as light as you like. Find out how much better it can make you look. The difference will surprise you.
Mayor Henry Clifford, Wethead. Mayor Henry Clifford, the dry look.
The dry look from Gillette.
And at this moment in the Orange Bowl, Miami, Florida, the invocation is being presented.
And so they do the same tonight. Protect the members of both teams from serious injury and grant that relying on thy will, whether they win or lose, genuine sportsmanship will prevail. Amen.
The invocation presented by Archbishop Pullman Carroll, the Archdiocese of Miami. And now, for our national anthem, one of the most lovely little gals you'll ever see, Miss Loretta Lynn.
Would you believe Lynn Anderson?
Would you believe Lynn Anderson?
Light, what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight and the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Anderson, and, well, I hope she forgives me. I did a ski show with her last year. Lovely lady. You don't have to be country and western to appreciate Lynn Anderson. And we do have a football game tonight, a critical game, as we mentioned at the top of the show, for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And for these fellas right here, the Miami Dolphins, well, it's a chance, as I said, to win their 25th regular season game within 2 years. Here's that incredible record. They clinched their division, the AFC Eastern Division, 2 weeks ago. Everyone thought they might have a little letdown. If you saw the game Thanksgiving Day against the Dallas Cowboys, you realize there was no letdown. They play out of a lot of pride, and they play because of this man in the middle, Don Shula, who has the best one-loss record of all coaches over the past 10 years. Indeed, he won his 100th game within 10 years. He did that last year. And he is some kind of a football coach. In 11 years, 4 times Coach of the Year. The Pittsburgh Steelers have won the toss. They naturally have elected to receive. Number 35 on your left is Steve Davis, second-year man. And Preston Pearson, the former Baltimore Colt that played so well in 1968 that he led the National Football League in kickoff returns. But Garo Yepremian gets things underway from the Orange Bowl in Miami. And the little man really puts the foot to it, in and out of the end zone. It'll be out to the 20, Pittsburgh with their first possession. As Howard said, Joe Gilliam, the second-year man out of Tennessee State, will be making his first start at quarterback. He's got a lot of poise. He has a lot of cool. He has some fine receivers, too. Ron Shanklin will be his one flanker, number 25. His other flanker will be either Frank Lewis or Barry Pearson. Number 43, Frank Lewis, now will start. His setbacks, Preston Pearson, who's having a super year. He probably has made the difference for the Pittsburgh Steelers, who have had a lot of injuries. And then, of course, there's Franco Harris. He won't get his 1,000 yards this year as he did last year, but he's in the lineup again and healthy. From their 20, the Steelers move, 1st and 10. Franco Harris moves over the left side, runs into the right side of the defensive front four of the Miami Dolphins, which will consist tonight of Bill Stanfield, number 84. Number 72 is Bob Heinz. He's the right defensive tackle. Manny Fernandez, the left defensive tackle, 75. Vern Denherter, the left defensive end. He's number 83. In the middle, Nick Bonacani in his 12th year. The outside linebackers, 59, Doug Swift, 57, Mike Cola, and the cornerbacks, 45, Curtis Johnson, 26, Lloyd Munford. Franco Harris got a couple. It'll be 2nd down and 8. The ball at the 22. The tight end, bottom of your screen, midway in, 89, John McMakin. Gilliam on his first pass. Throwing short to Ron Shanklin, number 25, up to the right flat.
I think that play reflected, that pass reflected the understandable nervousness of Gilliam in the early going. The key thing, I think, Frank, and I think Danny will agree with me, as the game progresses to watch about Gilliam, is the way he hangs in there against the rush till the last possible second. Only then does the great quick release come as he spots his receiver. Most young quarterbacks, even with a good release, throw too soon. Gilliam doesn't.
And we should see that rush right now. The Miami Dolphins that have got to the quarterback 39 times this year on 3rd down and 8. Gilliam back. Good protection. Oh, and it's picked off. Anderson. Dick Anderson. Dick Anderson, touchdown. And did he read that beautifully? And Franco Harris is shaken up at the goal line. Earlier in the year, Franco Harris had a bad knee, but there's Dick Anderson. What a great player he is.
He's done that so many times before, Dick Anderson. An opportunistic player who reads so superbly well. He did it to Baltimore in a playoff game a couple of years ago. He's an all-pro, and he reflects the beauty of this Miami defensive unit.
Makes all the difference in the world when you can deal from confidence, and that's what the Dolphins are dealing from. They read an pass play very obviously, and Anderson was sitting back hoping he was going to throw it to his man. He timed it just right, as both you guys have pointed out.
Garo Yepremian on for the conversion. If he makes this 1 point, he will be tied with Roy Gerella for scoring in the AFC. Garo Yepremian converting, getting his 89th point. And the man he is dueling with is also here tonight, Roy Gerella of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Little Garo Yepremian.
We didn't have to wait long for some action, did we?
Not when you have the Miami Dolphins. There aren't words to describe this team, really, Don, and you know it as well as anybody.
I know this. If there's words to describe them, you're going to find them. Let's look at it again. Here's this interception. He had good protection. He just threw that thing a little bit behind the receiver. You saw him slow down there. Anderson was coming in from his strong safety position, picked it off as the tight end is trying to hit. Here's the kickoff.
Vermeyen again roots it deep into the end zone. And Preston Pearson has second thoughts. He stays in the end zone. Pittsburgh will have their second opportunity. 13:49 remaining in the first quarter, and the Dolphins are out in front 7-0. And Don, you said something I think so important. The Dolphins are playing it so loose. It makes all the difference in the world. Dick Anderson, well, they clinched their division. He could take that dive for it.
Yeah, the first pass that Gilliam threw, Frank, was a square out. And from a quarterback standpoint, you really want that first one to be a completion, and especially in his position. So he tried to get it. He hurried it, missed that square out. So that didn't help. Then he tried it again. It was intercepted. Let's see what he does. He's got it. If he just settled down, go back to your game plan now, Jefferson Street.
All right, Franco Harris apparently all right as the flag goes down. Harris ripped for 7 yards. Stopped there by Bonacani.
I have criticized coaches calling plays, and the reason I have is I feel that quarterback needs to kind of get a feel of the game. I don't think there's any argument in the fact that the coaches, people in the press box can get different views, can send in different kind of plays to take advantage of it. When you got a young quarterback like Gilliam out here, now Gilliam is calling his plays. This is where I think a young quarterback can get a lot of help from the bench, from the press box, primarily to determine what these defensive guys are doing. Are they doing what we think they are, Joe? Now, you just hang in there, man. Don't worry about it.
5-yard penalty assessed. Backfield in motion. It'll be first down and 15. Miami slips into their 53 defense. That means Bob Matheson comes in, giving them 4 linebackers: Matheson, Colin, Bonacani, and Doug Swift. The draw play. Franco Harris battles back to the original line of scrimmage, picks up a couple more. It'll be second down and 8. Stopped there by Vern Denherter and Bill Stanfield, number 84.
It was a good call, Frank. They got a 5-yard penalty, put it at first and 15. He needed to get back in some sort of position, again, to get back into the rhythm of the plays he's going to call. He's now second down and about 8, so you look at it, well, on first down, I gained 2 yards, so didn't really lose that much. Good call.
All right, Shanklin goes out to the right. He'll be picked up out there by Lloyd Mumford, who has replaced the injured Tim Foley in the secondary. The only difference from the team that you saw in the Super Bowl of last year. And, of course, Mumford was in that. Foley was also hurt for the Super Bowl. On second down and 8. Lots of time, and it's deflected. Matheson coming on the blitz, as he does so often, and Denherter were both in there. So the youngster out of Tennessee State, where he had such a sensational career, is feeling the pressure from this great Miami defense.
That was a good defensive play there, Frank. You saw they did have a good pocket, but then Vern Denherter played off his block real well, got back as far as he could, good penetration, saw the ball hadn't been released, and just jumped up and knocked it down. He's got good height, too.
Chuck Noll on the sidelines in his 4th year with the Steelers, looking on as Gilliam considers a third down along 7. A lot of pressure this time. He's going deep for Shanklin, and Shanklin drawing double coverage. Mumford was back there. Jake Scott from his free safety, number 13, also in there to help. Give us a chance to tell you this telecast is presented by the authority of the Miami Dolphins Football Club. It's intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Dolphins and the National Football League is prohibited.
That pass was 63 yards in the air and hit him right in the numbers.
Yep, good throw. Bobby Walden kicking to Dick Anderson and Jake Scott. This is Jake Scott. Jake Scott getting back to the 40, pounded down at the 39. 37-yard punt, 6-yard return. So Miami has a 7-0 lead, 12:33 remaining in the first quarter.
Move it. I'm Ira Parsegian. By getting a close-up look at the players in action, I really get to know them. Now I'm going to show you how to look close at a station wagon, the new Ford LTD Country Squire for 1974. The idea is to get your hands on it. Try things out, like Ford's 3-way door gate. It opens like a tailgate, opens like a door, with a window up. Or with the window down. Try out the spare tire extractor, and these steel-belted radials are standard. And look, you can get dual-facing rear seats, even a game table for the kids. And get behind the wheel to really feel its luxury and comfort. Ford Country Squire. It gives you the wagon features that make Ford the wagon master. See it at your Ford dealers.
Ford. The closer you look, the better we look.
Dick Anderson, who put the Miami Dolphins out in front, early going here, 23-yard interception. And he is a fine football player. What he's meant to this defensive secondary of the Dolphins. Now you look at the offensive unit. Bob Gracie is the director. Larry Zonka, 39. Murphy Morris on the setbacks, 22. Both having great years. Marlon Briscoe, 86, one wide receiver. Paul Warfield, the other 42. Here's Briscoe coming towards you in motion. This is Zonka. And Zonka is picked off there by the shooting middle linebacker, Henry Davis. A defensive front four for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Dwight White, number 78. Ernie Holmes, number 63. Number 75 is Joe Green. Number 68 is L.C. Greenwood. Davis in the middle, number 53. The outside linebackers, 59. Jack Ham, 34. The veteran Andy Russell. Zonka didn't appear like he picked up anything. He got 2. It's 2nd down and 8. Bertree Morris. Bob Kutchenberg with a block out front, and Morris bobbles the ball.
Well, that's something you don't see too often. Frankie had a nice gain. He was trying to switch arms with that ball and just dropped it.
We've seen a lot of that this year. We've seen guys drop the ball when nobody was around them. Look at it again.
Well, look here. He just stumbled, looked like, and the ball just popped out. I don't think anybody hit him. I think he stumbled on his own feet.
And Ratty did that in the game against Washington that we had on Monday night. Emerson Boozer of the Jets did it in one game this year. I think it was against Buffalo. We've seen a lot of that this year. Very strange.
Lost about a half a yard. It'll be 3rd down. Call it a long 8. Into the backfield now. Jim Kick, number 21. Kick, a fine receiver, replaces Zonka. Crazy putting both backs out. They check for linebackers, and it doesn't matter.
Joe Green is
number 75, and he's in there along with Dwight White.
He did his thing. That's what's going to have to hold Pittsburgh in there tonight. That defense, until Gilliam, despite his protestations and the tease of the show about pressure being something that occupies the media but not the player, until Jefferson Street Joe acquires some confidence.
All right, and that'll bring on Larry Seipel. Having a good year, his best ever, averaging a little over 43 yards a punt. Deep for the Steelers is Glenn Edwards and number 41, Dennis Meyer. Seipel with a good kick. This is Edwards. Whoa. Wow, and he was nailed. Yeah. Charlie Babb getting down there to make the stop. 50-yard kick, 5-yard return. This Saturday, ABC's Wide World of Sports, U.S. Grand Prix Motocross Motorcycle Championship from Carlsbad, California. International Figure Skating from Calgary, Canada. World Barrel Jumping Championship from Grosinger, New York. 5 Eastern and Pacific, 4 Central Time over most of these ABC stations.
I've always thought barrel jumping was Dandy's best sport.
Barrel jumping? From the 15, the Steelers will try and get things started. Gilliam handing off to Preston Pearson. Out in front, Davis. Pearson moves out to about the 14-yard line. Vern Den Herner moving over there along with Lloyd Mumford to make the stop. Preston Pearson has really kind of saved the Steelers this year. They've had injuries both to Johnny Fuqua, who is able to play. He cracked his collarbone 5 weeks ago, but Pearson stepped in. Franco Harris was hurt early in the year, and again it was Pearson having his best year ever. 452 yards coming into tonight. The ball is at the 17. It's 2nd down, 8 yards to go. 11:07 remaining in the first quarter. The Steelers trail 7-0. Franco Harris just getting back to the line of scrimmage. Getting in there quickly was number 83, Vern Den Herder.
Old Manny Fernandez is in there too.
Oh,
Frank.
boy.
These guys are really playing well. There's the Zonk over there on the side, taking it kind of easy. Right now, this defensive unit of the Dolphins, look, they're really...
Oh, they're too much, Don.
Well,
they're too much.
They're keyed up.
That defensive line is presumably undersized. Not the Miami offensive line, but the defensive line. Their quickness, their coordination, their working together is simply extraordinary.
You saw 53. That means the Dolphins have their 53 defense in. Bob Matheson in. 3rd down and 8. Gilliam with time to throw. In and out of the hands of one Pittsburgh Steeler and picked off by Curtis Johnson. John McMakin takes Curtis Johnson out of bounds at the 31-yard line. Another big break for these Dolphins.
That's another evidence of these Dolphins. I'm not sure, Frank, that I'd call it a break. On Thanksgiving Day, for instance, against the Cowboys, a ball went through a Dallas receiver's hands. Jake Scott was there to pick it off and set the Dolphins up for their first drive to a touchdown. They are where the ball is at. Their defensive secondary is extraordinary, and they're doing it without Tim Foley, number 25 from Purdue, who's a great hitter. His substitute, Mumford, can do the job.
All right, the ball is placed at the 34. Zonka back in, number 39. Morris now the bottom of your screen in the wingback position. And jumping offside was number 68, L.C. Greenwood. Let's take another look at that interception, and this is the 14th, 15th interception now for the Dolphins.
Well, again, he had plenty of time. He really rifled that ball, possibly too hard even, to John McMakin, tight end. It went off of his hands, bounced up, and as Howard said something, the fact that being at the right place at the right time is one of the things the Miami defense has working for them, and they were sure there that time. You know what they're calling that against the Dolphins? Was that an offensive... or was it delay of the game? Was it offsides or delay of the game?
The call was offsides against the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah. Well, I didn't see that.
We are told that Jim Mandich was offsides. That probably drew L.C. Greenwood off, who plays right in front of Mandich. In any event, it's 1st and 15. The ball at the 40 of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Morris, Bob Kuchenberg, 67 with a great block out in front of Morris. Andy Russell takes Morris out of bounds at the 18. But you saw one of the two great guards of this Dolphin unit, Bob Kuchenberg, number 67. The other, of course, Larry Little, 66.
Can't draw that one up much better than it was executed. Watch them, the two guards that Frank mentioned, especially Kuchenberg. He's out in front of that thing. Good block on the right side by Norm Evans, number 73, at right tackle. Great hole out there.
Curtis Johnson, the man who came up with the Dolphins' 15th interception of the year.
By the way, he rooms with Tim Foley, Curtis Johnson. The two are very close.
Morris moves it all the way down to the 20, a 20-yard pickup, 1st and 10, and Zonka is stopped at the line of scrimmage. Met there hard by number 59, Jack Ham.
You're absolutely right on that earlier playback on the work that Kuchenberg did. His development, of course, has been a major story. Everybody knew about Larry Little, but Kuchenberg has become a great player. But it's nice to have a back like Mercury Morris, who can accelerate that way through a hole, isn't it, Dandy?
Yeah, it wouldn't hurt.
2nd down and 10. Wide receiver Paul Warfield comes out to the left. Only caught 21 passes this year, but every 3rd one was a touchdown. Now Briscoe comes towards you in motion. Zonka gets the call, and Zonka is nailed there by the middle linebacker, Henry Davis, who stepped through the hole of the pulling guard, Bob Kuchenberg.
Yeah, they read that one pretty well that time. This defense has done a terrific job. Last year, the defense, there you got Bonacani on defense for the Dolphins, but that Pittsburgh defense, I think, was primarily responsible for their success last year, because they didn't really give anybody any breathing room. They were on them all the time.
Hard on 3rd down and 10. James Thomas comes into the lineup for the Steelers. They go into their prevent defense, anticipating the pass from Gracie. Mandich is in, number 88, the tight end. Briscoe, top of your screen. Warfield, the bottom. Gracie going out to Jim Kick. In and out of the hands. And that should produce Garo Yepremian.
James Thomas was the guy that was on him that time. Frank, he was right there with him. You says they're prevent defense. It was, you see, Kick coming out of the backfield. Everybody pretty well figured it was going to be a pass. He sent both backs out, trying to hit Kick out in the flat. He hit him, but so did Thomas.
Fine defensive play by Thomas. Garo Yepremian to hold. And, well, the old man of the game, Earl Morrill, to do the holding. But with this kick, Yepremian can take over the scoring lead in the AFC. From 28 yards out, Garo Yepremian hits the Miami Dolphins. With 8:34 remaining in the first quarter, lead the Pittsburgh Steelers 10-0, and they're off and cruising as they have so many times this year. We'll be back.
When you save your money at a savings and loan, your money does more than just grow. A savings and loan lends out money for homes, and that helps communities grow. We're doing our lot for America, and we want to do more.
Once I hurt my knee trying to make a tackle that a lot of people thought I shouldn't have been trying to make. Well, let me tell you, if you put that uniform on, you're supposed to be a football player, and you've got to be ready to go all the way. That's just the way I am. I guess that's why I use Brute. I like the smell. I like the way it works, the way it lasts.
Brute by Fabergé. After the game, after anything, Brute goes all the way.
If you're not going to go all the way, man, I mean, why go at all?
On your left, Steve Davis, the only player, well, the first player ever drafted out of Delaware State, and of course Preston Pearson on your right. They await the kick of this man, Garo Yepremian, who just took over the scoring lead in the AFC. This will be Pearson at his own 4. And Pearson gets out to the 18-yard line, hit there by Don Nottingham. Preston Pearson, who played with the Baltimore Colts when Chuck Noll was there. Chuck Noll recognized talent, brought him to Pittsburgh in 1969.
Shula brought Nottingham with him, I guess. Well, he was at Baltimore anyway. I don't know whether he was there when Shula was there.
No, he wasn't.
Well, it could have been a good story if he had been.
Would have been. Klosterman drafted him. Klosterman.
Joe Gilliam, just short of the 20-yard line. The Steelers will try again. They trail at 10-0. This is Pearson, hit first by Vern Den Herder. And then, so typical of the Miami defensive unit, they just fold in. Face of a young man really on a spot. Terry Hanratty has a very severely sprained wrist. Terry Bradshaw quite possibly could play, but he is 5 weeks off a shoulder separation. So on the spot tonight, Joe Gilliam. And of course, the big thing, the race in the Central Division of the American Football Conference. The Steelers, could they win tonight, would have a full game lead over Cincinnati and Cleveland. If they don't, they drop into a 3-way tie. Second down along 6. The ball at the 23. Barry Pearson, top of your screen, Shank from the bottom. This is Pearson. Chris Van Dyke out in front. He's very close to the first down. Nick Bonacani moving over from his middle linebacker spot to make the stop.
Going to be interesting to watch the Steelers on this series of downs and subsequent ones to see how they hold together in the face of the 2 quick interceptions, the 2 quick capitalizations by the Dolphins for their current 10-0 lead. If Noll doesn't panic and seek to put in Bradshaw, if he holds together, and I'm sure he will, I think this team will hold together. Give us a good football game.
Half a yard short are the Steelers. Their 4th time they've had the football. They still have yet to make their first down. Up against the AFC's second leading defensive unit, and that defensive unit stopped Franco Harris.
They are tough.
They are too much.
They are tough tonight in particular.
Nick Bonacani.
Oh, boy. All the years, all the adversities Bonacani suffered. Look at those Miami fans go crazy over that Miami defense, and well they might. Oh, what a job Don Shula has done.
Bobby Walden. And a beautiful kick by Walden, moving Jake Scott all the way back to his 17-yard line. Scott turns the corner.
They seem to be doing everything well tonight.
They do it well every game, day or night. Let's face it, this is a great football team, period.
6:06 remaining in the first quarter. The Dolphins ahead 10-0.
The Dolphin Trail in the dead of winter. On this road, you better ride the right kind of snow tire. One slip can leave you buried in a 10-foot snowbank, hours from help. We're driving the treacherous Dalton Trail on Sears steel-belted radial snow tires. Tires made to handle the steep climbs and slippery curves. And when you've got to stop, that's when you really appreciate this tire. The way it digs into deep snow, you can feel it work, feel the positive traction. It's the best performing snow tire we've ever offered. From the radial design and 2 tough steel belts to a unique multi-angled tread pattern with more than 2,000 gripping edges. For full tread width traction when winter's at its worst. The Sears steel-belted radial snow tire. Try it on your own Dalton Trail. Radial design, 2 steel belts, and a deep biting tread. The Sears steel-belted radial snow tire. Only at Sears.
On the left, the Pittsburgh defensive unit. They're a good defensive unit, too. They're ranked 5th in the AFC, but they lead the whole deal in interceptions. They've had 28 over the year. We'll talk more about that later as the Dolphins now take over 1st and 10. They move now from their own 38. Fine punt return by Jake Scott. Zonka gets the call, tries the right side. No opening, finds his own. He gets about 7 out to the 43. Henry Davis there to make the stop, getting a little help from number 78, Dwight White.
Funny thing about this Miami team, Don, even though they're unbeaten last year, created the great record, even though they've lost only 1 this year, there are still people outside of Miami who say other teams have better talent. How do they do it? We'll get to that later. You explain.
Put me on the spot, but I'll try.
2nd down, a long 6, the ball at the 43.5-yard mark for the Dolphins. Breezy, inside handoff, Mercury Morris. He gets about 2. He moves over the 45 to the 46. The thing about this Pittsburgh defensive unit, they call Joe Green mean. Let's take a look at him when they really get with it. They say Dwight White is even meaner than Joe Green. Well, they're a well-coordinated unit, too, Howard. You spoke of the Dolphins being well-coordinated. Chuck Noll, who learned really a lot of his football under the Dolphins coach, Don Shula, is their coach.
Exactly so.
You see so much of the same. 3rd down along 2. The ball at the 46-yard line of the Dolphins. They have a 10-0 lead. 4:48 remaining in the first quarter. Greasy looking for Warfield, and Mel Blount gave Warfield more room than you can afford to give an outside receiver, and I don't blame him.
Well, they sure don't like to see him go deep.
Ah, there he is with those eyes. You know, this fellow was trying to get his weight up to 230. Manny Fernandez at Biscayne College during the training period, up to 230.
What does he weigh right now?
I don't think he weighs 230. The guy is incredibly strong, as you know, and incredibly quick. But that's what I meant when I said the Miami defensive line seems undersized to some.
Warfield got the 1st down at the 44 of the Steelers, a 10-yard gain. The big man to the outside, Zonka. And moving over there quickly was George Webster. Goes in now as a 1 linebacker for the Steelers. George Webster, one of the great players in the history of the AFL.
Don, would you tell the folks what Harry Gardner, who used to be a trainer with Dallas and is now the Miami trainer, told you about these Dolphins?
Larry just said that, well, Larry might not want me to say this, but I guess I'll apologize to him. He just was comparing them with Dallas's overall talent, and he says they're not nearly as good as Dallas, man for man. These guys just really have a thing where they play real well together. And I think that, in a way, answers what you're talking about. They have a lot of pride in what they do.
This is 2nd down and 8, and Mercury Morris got about half of it. There's Mercury Morris, 4 yards. Coming up quickly, number 48, John Rouser.
Mercury Morris from West Texas State, Dwight White from East Texas State, and Joe Green from North Texas State. There's L.C. Greenwood, Frank, and Ernie Holmes in there, too. That's the front 4.
Good unit. Taken in colder days in Pittsburgh, playing on a beautiful night in Miami. 3rd down and 4 now for the Dolphins. The ball at the 38.5-yard mark of the Pittsburgh Steelers. So far, 2 interceptions. The key to the Dolphins' 10-0 lead. Dick Anderson took one in for a touchdown. Gary Yepremian hit on a 28-yard field goal. Crazy just getting it off to Mandage. Incomplete. Jim Mandage, who replaced the injured Marv Fleming, who pulled a thigh muscle earlier. Greasy got a lot of pressure from Dwight White, and he just did release it.
Threw a good pass.
He did. Mandage had him beat there for a while. It looked like the ball hung a little bit, Howard. It didn't get there quite as quickly as Bob would have liked for it to, because Mandage had 2 or 3 steps on it. The ball hung a little bit up in the air.
One of the interesting things about the Dolphins is, despite that coordinate play, they do have some malcontents. Mandich is one. He's playing out his option. Feels he should be playing regularly instead of Fleming, but he does his job, and that's Shula.
From the 46-yard line, Gary Yepremian. Well, it's all working for the Dolphins tonight. Yepremian gets his second field goal of the night. Earlier, he hit from 28 yards out, and now from 46. What a weapon this little man has been. Began his career 66 with Detroit. Missed a couple years. 68 and 69 was out of football, and Don Shula said, come play with us. And Don Shula will never rue that day. The little tie maker.
He was kicking them from 60 yards out before this game started, Frank. We were watching him. He was just taking a couple of steps and warm-ups. And as you mentioned, for, a little fella, man, he's got a strong leg, because that ball was really going in there.
Unbelievable. And he'd sell ties to Dandy and me in between each kick.
He's not going to sell any of them to me. I'm not going to buy them.
Set to kick off to Preston Pearson and Steve Davis. And again, he roots one deep into the end zone, and the Steelers are forced to settle again for the touchback. And what a weapon that is when you can prevent the run back of the kickoff, as we have watched Gary Yepremian 3 times tonight.
The Steelers are looking for a first down. They got to get past the 30.
They have not yet had a first down. They've had 2 pass interceptions. Miami has done absolutely nothing wrong. We still have 2:51 left in the first quarter in a game completely dominated by the Super Bowl champions thus far.
And primarily on defense, as the Steelers start again, as they have. You've watched them 3 times tonight. It's the 4th time they have started play from their own 20. Good fake by Gilliam. And McMakin drops the ball. Good pass.
Yeah. Hate to say things like that, but, man, when you get them going in one direction, it really is hard to get them turned around. They had a good play fake. You'll watch an I formation. He's going to fake to Franco Harris. Comes off as Pearson comes in there. He's got Mandage open right down the middle. Good break. Hit him right where he's supposed to. Never broke stride, but he dropped it. I mean, McMakin, the other cat's on the other team.
On the sidelines, Terry Hanratty. You can just see the back of his head with the Steeler jacket. Now, there's Terry Hanratty. You see the wrist bandage. You saw Bradshaw also, the back of his head. 2nd down and 10. The ball at the 20. Gilliam now 0 for 6 tonight. 2 interceptions. Draw play goes to Pearson, and Pearson nailed there. Stepping across, number 59, Doug Swift. Here's a young man.
There he is with the bubble gum.
He got his 1,000 last year. He'd like to have another one this year. He came into tonight's game in good shape with 828 yards, and has had a couple of spectacular runs this evening, as Mercury Morris. Carried it 4 times, gained 25 yards. But right now, the man in trouble, as he has been throughout the entire first quarter, this man, Joe Gilliam. 3rd down and 10. Unloads it, picks off Dick Anderson.
Well, that could spell the difference. They may have to bring Bradshaw in now, but I think he's going all the way.
Uh-oh. Anderson, who returned one earlier for a touchdown, returns this one 32 yards to the 2.5-yard line.
There's a flag down, Frank. I don't know what it means.
Flag is down.
Probably against the Steelers.
Where Anderson was running, I would have to suspect it would probably have to be a clipping call, but we'll wait and see.
Well, they had a blitz of some sort, or somebody missed a block up the middle. It does appear to be a holding against Pittsburgh, and obviously they won't take it.
Obviously.
But he rushed that pass terribly and didn't even throw close to his man.
You're right.
So, I don't know. It might not see him finish out the night. Bradshaw may have to come in.
It's too bad you don't like to see it happen to the young man. A lot of people have waited a long time for this kind of opportunity for Gilliam for reasons that don't have to be further amplified.
That's true. But he hadn't completed one to his side yet, and
That's
3 to
right.
Miami.
That's correct.
You saw Terry Hanratty step over and say a word to the second-year man from Tennessee State. Tough spot to be in. The Dolphins now just about the 3-yard line. 39 Zonka, 22 Morris. Warfield, the wing back. Here comes Morris. And he's nailed right at the line of scrimmage. Mercury Morris, who has accumulated 10 touchdowns on the year. Henry Davis lunging over from his middle linebacker in the goal line defense of the Steelers to make the stop.
Frank, that Anderson, number 40, Dick Anderson, is a tricky, clever runner. He runs a little bit like you used to run when you were playing defense. I'm serious now. I'm not needling you when they finally moved you to offense.
I'll tell you, I wish I could ski like he skis, Howard. He is really a great skier. Great athlete, all-around athlete, Dick Anderson. No gain for Morris, still 2nd down and 3. See the stacked backfield, that's kick going in motion, 21. Zonka almost takes Greasy with him. It's quite a family, as a matter of fact. His brother was an All-American at Colorado, as was Dick Anderson as a defensive player.
Trouble with Dick Anderson is he confuses Dandy, who often mistakes him for your premier.
Don't tell Anderson that.
Clock moving, 42 seconds. The Dolphins with the 3rd down. Still, I'll call it 2.5 yards now to go. And back to the regular pro set. Morris and Zonka.
He got him all alone.
All alone. Mandich. Jim Mandich gets his 4th touchdown of the year, his 19th reception. Chuck Noll says, what's happening out there?
I can understand that. The phrase for that is blissful solitude. Words written by Wordsworth.
Ho, ho, ho.
And the white handkerchiefs are waved here at the jam-packed Orange Bowl in Miami.
Wordsworth never saw a football game.
No, but he saw daffodils.
Oh. That makes sense?
Yes.
Oh. I'll tell you what, he ain't much making sense for Pittsburgh tonight. They're in trouble.
Joe Gilliam, 3 interceptions. Each one has been converted to points, 1 a field goal and 2 touchdowns. Gary Yepremian extends the Miami Dolphin lead. Jim Mandich, and he is one fine tight end. Usually plays behind Marv Fleming, as Howard mentioned. He doesn't like that particular role. Marv Fleming is primarily as a blocker as Don Shula steps into the picture.
That's the good thing about Shula as a coach, really. Mandich is, as I said, unhappy, as Frank, too, has noted. Yet he puts out for Shula. Zonka and Kick, in their book, Always on the Run, are open in their criticisms of Shula, but they'd go through a wall for him. He adapts to his personnel, and I think you've mentioned often that that's the test of an outstanding coach, Don.
In my opinion.
Yepremian again drills another booming kickoff. And this time Steve Davis will give it a shot. Who has it?
I think they got it back.
Steelers made the recovery, getting down there to get the ball. Number 51, Lawrence Taves. Good specialty team man, Lawrence Taves. So the Steelers will move now from their own 22. That in itself unusual thus far this evening.
That's the furthest they've been to start. They haven't been past that 20 to start off.
9 seconds remaining in the first quarter. The Dolphins with a 20-0 lead. We look at Franco Harris, and already anticipating what perhaps will be a tie. Right now we have Terry Bradshaw in the game. Joe Gilliam sideline. Steve Davis is also in there, number 35, and Johnny Fuqua. Fuqua gets out over the 25 to the 26. Now here's 2 players that were hurt seriously at the same time. Bradshaw separated shoulder. Fuqua in their very same game against Cincinnati cracked a collarbone. Now they're both back in the action, and they trail the Dolphins 20-0. That's the end of the first quarter. The preceding announcement was brought to you as a public service by the National Football League. Beginning the second quarter, Terry Bradshaw in the ball game. The ball is at the 25-yard line. 2nd down and 7. Steelers trailing 20-0. This is Steve Davis. Davis, the second-year man from Delaware State, finally stopped by Manny Fernandez in pursuit. On the sidelines, number 15, Earl Morrill, 2 times MVP in the National Football League, 2 different teams, Baltimore, and then in relief of Bob Greasy last year. 18 years out of Michigan State, playing with his 6th team, and this man, Bob Greasy, is something special.
They're probably trying to figure out, Frank, how in the world they've scored 1 point every time they gain 2 yards, because they got 41 total yards and 20 points.
They should go talk to the defense. 3rd down now, call it 5. The ball at the 27. Quick pitch goes to Johnny Fuqua, and Fuqua hurdling, and he will be very close to the 1st down. Dick Anderson moving up there to make the stop. Johnny Fuqua came to the Steelers in 1970 along with Henry Davis when the Steelers sent Dick Shiner to the New York Giants.
There's a 1st down for him.
Very good trade for the Steelers. And Fuqua, who 5 weeks ago cracked a collarbone, gets Pittsburgh's first down of the ball game. 13:42 remaining in the half. 33. Bradshaw firing. Forget it. Dick Anderson, his 3rd interception. Touchdown. 38 yards.
I don't think I've ever seen anything like it.
I can't believe it.
3 interceptions by Anderson in a little over 1 quarter.
2 for touchdowns.
Almost a duplicate of the first one he picked off. This time he did not have to dive for it. Look at it again.
Frank, that ball was
end over end
pretty well. Anderson just made a good defensive play. As I mentioned earlier, they are playing with a great deal of confidence. They're taking some chances. They're getting position. They're really being aggressive. That's going to cut this thing down now. They've still got 41 yards, but they got 26 points now. So they're doing better all the time on offense.
Yeah, Premian. And the Dolphins extend their lead with 13:28 remaining in the half to 27-0.
And we thought we were going to have a really great game.
It is good. Just depends on how you look at it.
Certainly great for the Miami Dolphins. We'll be back in the Orange Bowl right after this.
The Dalton Trail in the dead of winter. A lonely, treacherous run for the Sears steel-belted radial snow tire. A tire made to handle the steep climbs and slippery curves. To stop you even in deep snow. It's the best performing snow tire we've ever offered. Try it on your own Dalton Trail. From radial design and 2 steel belts to the multi-angled tread pattern for deep biting traction. The Sears steel-belted radial snow tire. Only at Sears.
Today, Wembley Neckwear asked the question, why do you wear Wembley ties?
My wife knows. It's my favorite present. Keeps me from spilling soup on my shirt.
Sir, why do you wear a Wembley?
Why do I wear a Wembley? Well, there's Karen.
Yeah, and Julie, and Suzanne.
Whatever your reason, there's a Wembley tie to suit your taste at fine stores everywhere.
Wembley ties keep the elephants away. Everybody knows that.
Wembley ties it all together.
Garrow, your Premian, who must be getting exhausted here in the first half, kicks off again. Pearson at his 8-yard line. Preston Pearson battling and fighting and scrambling all the way to the 35 is Preston Pearson.
Best field position they've had all night.
If you're wondering about Dick Anderson, well, he has just become the 10th man in history of pro football to intercept and return for touchdowns 2 passes. And he has 2.5 quarters, almost 3 quarters to go. I don't like to put it that way, but he still has it.
They keep throwing those same patterns, he'll make it.
Terry Bradshaw up to the line of scrimmage. He'll have a 1st and 10 from his own 35. Fuqua, 33. Davis, 35 are the setbacks. Fuqua Pounding for about 2.5 yards over his right side.
Boy, is this Miami team prepared. There's the story right there of this game. The 4 turnovers against none. But again, a tribute to Miami. A team that clinched a number of weeks ago. A team that talks often among its members about a man named Lombardi. A team whose coach talks about Lombardi. Winning the first time is not enough, Shula says. It's repeating. That's the mark of a real champion.
He better start getting more out of it because he ain't winning every year.
Second down and 7 from his own 38. Bradshaw dumps it off to Fuqua, and you saw...
You had it right, Frank. He dumped it off.
I don't know whether he did it deliberately or it's just the motion from a very sore shoulder.
Well, I really feel sorry for those cats out there because they really haven't got anything going for them. And if they're ever going to get anything, they got to get some sort of rhythm going. And he's got to feel like the only kid at the dance that knows how to two-step and is playing the boogaloo all night long because he's really off out there.
And now he'll look at the Miami Dolphins 53 defense.
You're not pretty, though, time maker. You're not prettier.
Ball at the 38. Barry Pearson left. Shanklin out to the right. Fuqua is complete. And he gets the first down at midfield.
The first pass completion to Pittsburgh by a Pittsburgh quarterback. By anybody tonight.
Larry Ball made the stop. Fuqua with a 12-yard gain. Let's look at it again.
Frank, they're trying to hit the outsides. You see those zones open up pretty good back in there. The Miami defense was dropping back. They expected a pass. Came off to the back. Fuqua, as you mentioned, out of the backfield. Made a good reception. He was open, but then picked up some extra yardage.
And if you're wondering where all of our slow motion is, well, we are having some technical problems. We apologize for that. Hopefully, we'll get them operational again.
Nobody's perfect.
All right. From the 49, the Steelers, the third deepest penetration. Here comes Davis. And Davis goes down. Great pursuit there. Number 85, Nick Buoniconti.
I thought it was 84, Frank. I could be. I don't know who it was. But I was
Stanfield then.
Whoever it was. What I was going to say is that was one situation where they looked like they had a hole opened up. But there was one guy, and I thought it was Stanfield, that did make an exceptional play, come from a little bit behind and pull that thing down. It could have been a pretty good game for him.
This program is being brought to you as a special exclusive of ABC Sports. Right now, let's pause 5 seconds. Allow our local stations to identify themselves. Second down and 6. Davis turning the corner, getting back to the line of scrimmage. Hit there by Nick Buoniconti.
Yes, sir. And Buoniconti came across that time from his middle linebacker. Read that one well. It was a kind of a slow pitch. I don't know what happened. We have audio, no video. Now we have video. And do we have audio? Yes.
Don't let him throw you, Don. You just do your thing.
Okay.
Third down and 6. A look at Nick Buoniconti, who started this whole thing as a 13th round draft pick out of Notre Dame by New England 12 years ago. Ball is at the 44. And Miami jumping into their blitz. Manny Fernandez, I believe, jumping offside. You saw number 59. Mike Colin also infringing.
I think we told the story about Buoniconti on a prior Miami game, but maybe not, Don. Even so, it's worth repeating. How his then coach at Notre Dame, Joe Kuharich, told him he couldn't recommend him for the National Football League. He was too small. He said, Nick, you could put a hole through a brick wall, but it would be a small hole.
I didn't ever heard that story before. I could have, though. I don't listen to a lot of your stories.
Don't be bitter, Dandy.
No, it's just sometimes, you know, those that are gifted with speech don't have a true understanding and appreciation of silence.
You might get 12 favorable letters.
Offsides. Third down now and 1. Manny Fernandez offsides for the Dolphins. Hurdling over the line of scrimmage, Dave Davis gets the first down. He's down to the 37-yard line. Buoniconti again there, along with Swift.
Picks up the first down.
Dolphins out in front, 27-0. 9:49 remaining in the first half. Dolphins, of course, in the playoffs will be the host team here at Miami. They'll host the Western Division champions, but if the wild card team is from that Western Division, then it's the wild card team at Miami and the Central Division champion at the Western champion. Got all that?
Yeah, that's clear to me.
1st and 10 for Pittsburgh. They move at Miami's 37. Davis again, and this time Davis stopped by a man who's been all over the field tonight, Dick Anderson.
Number 34, Andy Russell, linebacker. Through all of the years, always considered an All-Pro, and one of the great people in the league, Frank. One of the men who's so concerned with community action.
Indeed he is, and he has a slight muscle pull, and we don't know whether we'll see any more of Andy this evening. All right, it's 2nd down and 9. Ball at the 36. Terry Bradshaw has replaced Gilliam at quarterback. Play fake, looking for a screen, and the Dolphins read it beautifully. Shanklin takes a yard out of it, but again, that Dolphin defense right over there. Number 59, Doug Swift, moving out from his linebacking spot. Vern Denherter cutting off the inside move of Shanklin.
Well, they wasn't too smooth.
All right, we'll see the prevent defense. Now number 51, Larry Ball, comes into the game for the Dolphins. Out comes Bob Hines. The 4 linebacker setup. They call it a 53 defense. They call it that because Bob Matheson usually plays that spot that Larry Ball is in at the moment, and he wears 53. 3rd down and 8. The ball just short of the 35 of the Dolphins. Bradshaw, and he gets popped as he unloads out in the flat to Steve Davis. Short, incomplete. And I have to almost think that it was a Manny Fernandez who let up just a little bit on Terry. Don, it looked like to me he could have really unloaded on him.
Yeah, it could have. He did. It either, the ball was way underthrown. He got a good pressure back there. They're at least going to have an attempt to put something on the board this time. Let's see what Roy can do.
Roy Jarrella. Longest of the year has been from 47 yards out. He's kicking now from 43. And that's how it goes when it goes bad. Off to the right, no good. Roy Jarrella, who came into tonight's game leading the AFC scoring with 89 points, he saw that disappear as Garo Yepremian tied that after Anderson's first touchdown. 8:19 remaining in the first half. We'll be back after this.
The gifts that won't stay under your tree. Polaroid Square Shooter 2, strictly color. $24.95. Polaroid's Color Pack camera. Big pictures in color or black and white. $39.95. One of Polaroid's folding 400s. The camera made for the famous focused flash. They all give you Christmas pictures on Christmas Day. Is there any other way to take pictures?
Sooner or later, you're going to get some white owls. And when you do, we gotcha. Maybe we'll get...
Roy Jarrella gets another shot from the 38. An illegal procedure called against Miami. And he made it this time, and the reason that call came late was because Miami had 12 men on the field. It's not a bad trick if you can get away with it. But it was picked up late, so Jarrella got another chance. He hit from the 38. The Steelers are on the scoreboard. Roy Jarrella originally came from Houston. As I said, he's had a really fine year. He's 21 of 32. A teenage girl learns the facts of life, death, and love during the turbulent years of World War II in A Summer Without Boys. Barbara Bain and Michael Moriarty star on the Tuesday Movie of the Week, 8:30, 7:30 Central, and right here on ABC.
Doesn't sound like much fun.
A Summer Without Boys?
That's right. Well, for girls, however you want to look at it.
Okay, deep. They haven't done too well this year at Mercury Morris because they don't get many opportunities. This team has only given up 9 touchdowns, these Miami Dolphins. Now they're going to have to run this one. That is Charlie Lee. Charlie Lee out to the 35-yard line.
Well, as has been said 3,000 times, if you're going to kick it within the playing area, kick it high, not low. You said something didn't sound like much fun, Dandy. I'm looking forward to the first quarter of next year when Wide World of Sports goes on Sunday as well as Saturday.
I'm looking forward to that. That sounds like a lot of fun.
The Harlem Globetrotters in London with Will Chamberlain, the Ali Frazier, first time around, never seen before on home TV, just among some of our other great new attractions.
And here's a little attraction here, a little spectacular, if you will, the Dolphins offense.
Look at that man go to the outside.
Mercury Morris.
Oh, man. What a move.
Across midfield. He's at the 48 of the Steelers, a 16-yard pickup.
Not too bad.
Had a couple of good ones there. One back in the backfield right after he got the ball, then bounced to the outside. Goodness. Had John Rouser coming in. Here it comes. Look, there goes Rouser inside. That's just sheer speed going out there. Webster, number 90, was the first one to get to him.
Not designed to encourage Jim Kick.
No, not on that play.
All right, from their 48 now. Webster, of course, has replaced the injured Andy Russell for the Steelers. Greasy wants to go deep. He wants to go to Warfield. Oh, and getting back there was Mel Blount, but still, Warfield had a chance.
Looked like a TD, wasn't. For those of you who are seeing this very great team tonight, you might be advised that a new man may be joining. I'm not saying will be joining, may be joining the Dolphins next year, but you all remember it. Joe Theismann, All-American quarterback from Notre Dame, who elected to go to the Canadian Football League, is in town right here. I went, in fact, to the Notre Dame-Miami game with him Saturday night, and I know the Dolphins are negotiating with him.
It's 2nd down and 10. Indeed, he is, Howard. He's right below our booth. And he has made no qualms about it. He wants to play here. Oh, and look at Zonka barrel up the middle, and he still won't go down. Down to the 27.
Oh, me. Oh, me.
They don't have much of a team, do they?
There's that Blunt and Wagner that he hit at the same time. Let's look at this again. This is straight up the middle. Good blocking. Goodness, a lot. That was Glenn Edwards that came over there.
Good double team there, Don.
He just
Kuchenberg and Langer.
He just made 1,000 yards.
They're going crazy here. Did you see that statistic? 14:35. Time of possession for the Steelers, just above 7 minutes.
They're giving Zonk the ball for about 1,000. He's over
5,000 yards for his career. He's not at 1,000 this
year. Well, yeah, something like that.
Oh, boy, what a football player. But I'll tell you, as you watch this crowd go berserk with those white handkerchiefs, and what a support they are for these Dolphins, it's not easy for the opposition to play here. That's the most misleading statistic I've seen this year. The Steelers in possession 14:35. Miami only slightly above 7 minutes. And the Dolphins lead 27-3 and driving.
On the 28. Zonka approaching 900 yards for the year now. 31 yards on tonight. But again, as he carries the ball, you're looking at a man who joined 18 other players as are the only people in the NFL's history who have gone over 5,000 yards. And you have to say he earns it the hard way. He doesn't get a lot of freewheeling as this big man. But he really punishes defensive backs. He weighs about 235, 237. He's something.
Hey, what an interlude. We'll get to in a moment. One of the great people in sports in this country, in our time or any time, has just joined us in the booth. Jack Nicklaus.
2nd down and 8. This is Morris. Morris moving inside the 25 to the 27.
Must be just a night for greatness.
Jack just had his second $300,000 year, and Jack, I'm glad you come up and see poppers like us. Yeah. Congratulations on your win, by the way.
Thank you.
These guys are not doing bad down here, are they, tonight? You Miami boys, huh?
Oh, are they playing?
They are.
I wonder when the offense is going to get the ball again.
We ought to see some statistics here. The offense is moving right now pretty well, though.
Of course, Frank alluded to Jack's victory last week in the Walt Disney Golf Tournament in Orlando.
3rd down and 5. Ball on the 23. Joe Green got back on sides. Complete to Jim Kick. Webster takes Kick out of bounds at the 13-yard line. That'll be a first down.
That's one of the things they do well with Kick. Oh.
Let's show Jack on camera here, gang, since suddenly they're on us. They're coming to us from, I guess, the ground level camera. Right over there, Jack. Let them see this genuine article.
Hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom.
That's a Mom. Hello. Yeah, right. It's good to see you, Jack.
Well, I called Lynn Anderson, Loretta Lynn. I would never call you Arnold Palmer, though, Jack.
No, that's good.
Great to see you.
I have never seen Miami better, Jack.
They look super hard. I don't know. And Anderson's something else,
isn't he?
Right now, they lead 27-3. They have a 1st and 10. They're on the 13-yard line of the Steelers. And here comes Jim Kick. Jim Kick, who has been alternating really this year with Mercury Morris, comes in mostly on passing situations. And he's not too happy about that either.
Frank, Jack's got to run. He says he'll give you 2 aside tomorrow if you'll lay over an extra day.
I can hardly wait to tee it up.
So long, Jack.
Kick coming to the sidelines. Morris back in. 2nd down now. Call it a long 5. The ball inside the 10 at the 8.5. Long night for Chuck Noll. This team is a good football team, these Pittsburgh Steelers. They just ran into a buzzsaw here tonight with a lot of injured players. This is Morris. And Morris has nowhere to go. Coming up there quickly to make the stop, number 48, John Rouser.
Rouser was fooled by that little sidestep a while ago, and he was zeroing in on him that time. Had Mercury try a couple others, and he just fell down of his own motion, I think.
Don Shula, for 7 years, the head coach of the Baltimore Colts. He took them to the Super Bowl. He dropped that one to the Jets. He lost to Dallas with his first Miami team. And then, of course, last year won it all. Won everything. 17 straight. Beating Washington 14-7.
Yeah, he got a lot of criticism when he lost, and I never did really understand that. You know, if supposedly the best team in the world beats you, how can you be really that bad?
Okay, it's 3rd down and 9 with that loss by Morris. Crazy, getting it out to Mercury Morris. He's at the 7-yard line. He'll be short of the first down. Nailed there by Mel Blunt, number 47. And little Garo Yepremian will come on again.
Oh, Mercury got a pretty good lick that time. He may be hurting a little bit. Looks like he's holding that arm some.
Ooh.
Yep, he sure is.
Or a rib. See that.
Yeah.
Or a rib, Don.
I don't know. There's Larry Gardner there on the right that's taking care of him, and he couldn't be in better hands.
Yepremian has hit from 28 and from 46. This time from the 14. Gary Yepremian, 3 field goals on the night, hitting from the 14. The Dolphins extending their lead. And on the sidelines, Mercury Morris looking for another 1,000-yard year. He already had 42 yards tonight, but he is in pain. We'll be back right after this.
It's good at toy stores, appliance stores, jewelry stores, sporting goods, music stores. It's Master Charge, good in more places for more gifts than any other card. And best of all, it lets you stretch out your payments. So this Christmas, don't worry. Relax. You've got Master Charge.
The Great One presents...
The great entertainers from General Electric. What value?
A selection of 100% solid-state color sets in a multitude of screen sizes. You get brilliant performance and the brightest, sharpest pictures in GE history. I demand value for my hard-earned inheritance. I'm having Mother put a GE in every room of my villa.
General Electric Television, the great entertainer.
And from the field level, watch Gary Yepremian set it up as our producer and director. Bounce around looking for something to do with the slow-mo equipment in a malfunctioning state. And there goes Mercury Morris through the sidelines. It looks to me as if he's holding his shoulder. We'll try and get more definite word in just a moment. Right now, here comes Preston Pearson. Nope, bobbles the ball. As Gary Yepremian is having a big night for such a little fellow. .254 remaining in the first half. Dolphins now extending their lead 30-3 over the Steelers. The Steelers next week will go back and they will go against Houston. And if they lose this game, which all indications would mean that they will, and they're going to fall into a tie with Cleveland and Cincinnati in the AFC Central Division. Bradshaw at the helm. Down goes Bradshaw at the 14. Bob Hines was in there. Number 75 was in there. Manny Fernandez. 6-yard loss.
I'll help you out. Well, let's see what happened. He's taking a little time, but he got some pretty good pressure from that outside on the right side, Frank. I don't think he really had a chance to get that one off. Things really do have a way of going bad, man, when you get them started. Terry's coming in. He had, of course, it was 5 weeks ago when he had his injury, so this is the first live action he's had in 5 weeks, so I'm sure he's, to say the least, a little bit rusty.
And he looks now over a 2nd down and 16, the ball at the 14, and no one plays this defense better than the Miami Dolphins. There comes Bill Stanfield, and he really nails Bradshaw. This time all the way back to the 8-yard line.
Oh, my. This is the second rout I've seen in 3 nights at this stadium. As I mentioned, I went to the Notre Dame-Miami game. In fact, you guys got in a little later on Sunday. But I had a great time as we watched this sack again by 84 Stanfield, who's come a long way in his pro career, I might add, the young gentleman from Georgia. But I had a great time with Ara Parsegian and his Notre Dame group, and are they looking forward to the Sugar Bowl showdown now, apparently, for the national championship against the Crimson Tide of Alabama New Year's Eve, right here on ABC.
Bear and the boys are kind of looking forward to it, too.
Mm-hmm. And there is the 2-minute warning. Paul Warfield looks on from the sideline. Things well in hand. We'll be back in a moment.
Excuse me, but you're going to need this. Gillette's new Max for Men.
I need that? Why?
It'll give you the natural look you're after.
But I'm in a hurry.
Exactly. Max for Men, the man's hair dryer, now has the power to dry hair really fast. And you know that funny cowlick?
I've always had it.
That brush helps smooth it down. And this comb helps add fullness. Well?
I need it.
Who doesn't? Max for Men. New from Gillette.
The way things are now, I can't always get all the gas I want. That doesn't make you happy. It doesn't make me happy. Point is, I need all the friends I can get. So when you come in, I'll give you tips on how to get better gas mileage. Do what I can to keep your car running good, too. That way, neither one of us will use as much gas. Maybe if I treat you like a friend now, you'll remember who was good to you. So come on in. I can be very friendly.
Two minutes remaining in the first half. You look at part of this capacity crowd, a very happy crowd. They've watched a great defensive performance tonight by their Dolphins. They lead now 30-3 over the Steelers. 4 interceptions in the early going. 3 by the starting quarterback Joe Gilliam, 1 by Terry Bradshaw. And right now, Bradshaw, number 12, is looking over 3rd down and 21 situation. He's at his own 9-yard line. He goes with the draw play to Fuqua. Fuqua, he had to get out to the 30. He made it back to the 20. Stopped by Doug Swift, number 59. Johnny Fuqua came into pro football, 11th round pick out of Morgan State. Let's look at him again. He's playing hurt also, Don.
Yeah, he is. That one was almost stopped in the backfield. They picked up a little yardage, but they had him back in the hole. You'd kind of expect a draw play in a situation like that.
Bobby Walden, and we're going to have this brought back, running into the kicker. as Jake Scott calls for the fair catch down at the 38. But Larry Ball, taking a flying shot at the kick of Bobby Walden, ran into Bobby Walden instead. That will give the Steelers a first down and an additional 5 yards. We've just received word that Mercury Morris, who left the field, we saw him a few moments ago, walking, holding his shoulder, and he has injured his shoulder. We do not know as yet how serious he was injured.
Hope he hasn't had a separation. Of course, that's what happened as you look at Don Shula to Tim Foley in that Dallas game Thanksgiving Day. You may remember, Don, Calvin Hill carrying the ball. Foley went into him. Calvin gave him a terrific shot, and down went Tim with the shoulder separation.
I didn't see that game.
Should have.
Not necessarily.
First and 10, the Steelers. Now they move from their own 25. They have equaled Miami's production of first downs with 4, but not interceptions. Bradshaw bouncing around and finally nailed Bob Matheson, number 53, in there to make the stop. Matheson, who has meant so much to this Miami Dolphin defense since coming from Cleveland a couple of years ago. They named the defense after Matheson.
Well, I don't know what's going on, Frank. It looked like they tried some sort of a blitz. It was picked up pretty well. As a one kind of move, he tried it again and it didn't work. Matheson went to school on the first move and caught him in midair.
Went to school, eh?
Went to school.
Mm-hmm.
There's Hanratty there on the sideline.
I wonder if he's feeling a little happy about being there at the moment.
Well, I doubt it.
No, he's really had a tough time. He had a good year going. Hurt his ribs, then hurt his wrist last week. Miami eager again. They've got to the Steelers quarterback 3 times already tonight with 17 yards of losses. Everybody wants to get into the act when it's going well. 56 seconds remaining in the first half.
1 week from this Saturday on ABC's Wide World of Sports Live, NCAA college basketball. Defending champions UCLA will meet North Carolina State in what may prove to be the game of the year. That's 5 o'clock Eastern, 4 Central, and 2 Pacific, a week from Saturday over most of these ABC stations.
The 2 teams ranked 1 and 2 in the country, UCLA and both back of North Carolina State.
On second down and 11, Terry Bradshaw looking for the screen. It's it out to Johnny Fuqua. Fuqua does a little tightrope walk down the sidelines, gets out to about the 28-yard line.
Howard's mentioned ABC's Wide World of Sports will be twice weekly, starting in January. You mentioned a couple of them, Howard, but we got the World Professional Figure Skating Championships, World Skiing Championships, and how about that auto racing thing?
The World Series of Auto Racing, the International Race of Champions, top stock car and sports car drivers. We got a lot of great stuff coming up right
pro
here.
Skiing, yeah, pro skiing, pro track.
Third down and 9, the ball at the 26-yard line. The Steelers trying to get back into this football game, and it'll be a rough row. Frank Lewis is in now as 1 wide receivers. Bradshaw is going to have to run again. And he unloads it.
I think he got it. I think he got it.
Preston, now Ron Shanklin. That he did. Bradshaw scrambling out of the pocket. Hit Ron Shanklin for a 13-yard gain as you look at the clock, and it'll be a first down for Pittsburgh.
35 seconds left, Frank. I'd say that what they really are going to try to do, just get in the field goal range. Miami's going to give them, I think, that. They're going to play back and try to protect against the touchdown. So if Bradshaw will call some patterns, it'll be turn-ins across the middle, get maximum blocking, he might be able to get that thing at least in field goal range.
Frank Lewis is back into the game. Frank Lewis, who missed 5 games early in the year, is the Steelers' fastest receiver. He had a big game last week against Cleveland, caught 7. In fact, his best ever. Number 43, Frank Lewis, with a lot of speed. The Steelers have had their problems, but when you think back, it was only a few weeks ago that they had a comfortable 2-game lead. And now the whole thing in the AFC Central Division is threatening to be locked up in a 3-way tie between Cincinnati, Cleveland, and Pittsburgh.
And ain't it funny how time slips away? Signs are out here in full force tonight. They just
changed the rule suspended for a moment a municipal ordinance, not audience. They can't suspend this audience. Municipal ordinance bars banners, but for this occasion, they're all right.
It's only fair.
Steelers with the 1st and 10. And again, Miami a little eager. Burned in Herder. Jumping off sides, number 83. And paying the 5 yards.
Well, somebody's a wise guy. Meredith paid that guy off.
Oh, no, that's not true. We just don't know how to spell your name.
Penalty moves the ball out to the 46, just beyond the 46. 35 seconds remaining on the clock. Bradshaw in and out of the hand.
There it is, 4 and 1 ball game.
I don't believe it. Who is it? Dick Anderson. How about that?
4 interceptions. He's a leading receiver tonight.
That's right. That's a good mark for a season in interceptions, Don.
That is incredible. And that's the only one that's been tipped, though. He's picked off the others clean.
No, one other was tipped, Don.
I thought the other guy got it. I think Anderson got the tip one. Let's look at it again. That was in and out of the hands of that same cat.
And Dick Anderson has tied a single game record of 4 interceptions in the same game. An NFL record. With 22 seconds remaining in the half. He ties a lot of people, but he has an opportunity to break it. The Dolphins now 1st and 10. They have the ball at the 45-yard line of the Steelers. And up the middle goes big Larry Zonka. Nailed there. Gets about a yard. Henry Davis moved in.
Halftime approaches, Giff. Forgive me, and we've got all of those big upsets of yesterday. Cincinnati against Minnesota. Buffalo against Atlanta. Buffalo with O.J. The near defeat of the Redskins by the suddenly awakened Giants. Giff liked that. He smiled.
I like that. Howard, there are a bunch of them. As I said, 12 players have intercepted 4 passes in a single game. How about running some names by you? You know who did one? Sammy Baugh. You believe that? Don Dahl did it. Bob Nussbaumer, Russ Kraft, Bob Dylan, Jack Butler. Jerry Norton did it. Dave Baker, Bobby Ply, Bobby Hunt, Willie Brown.
Jack Butler played with these Pittsburgh Steelers, a lad from St. Bonaventure. Very great player. Played in the late 50s with the Steelers.
How about Bobby Dillon, Green Bay?
Not too bad.
How about Jerry Norton from SMU?
I knew you'd get to that.
Well, I just thought I'd mention it. Good old Texarkana boy, right down the road from Mount Vernon.
Dick Anderson.
Toronto loves Howard, Giff, and Dandy Don. Mary Donna loves Dandy Don. Mary Donna's out in San Francisco, and she's watching tonight. 13-year-old and Chet 40 and Omar both took shots at her last week. I got to do something with Omar and 40.
2nd down and 9. Greasy stepping out of the pocket. Dumps it off. Complete. Goes to Jim Mandich. And Mandich down the sideline. He gets out of bounds with the clock showing 3 seconds remaining. They're at the 26-yard line. 19-yard pickup.
Okay, out comes Garrow. Field goal attempt. This team is a positive machine. A mechanized group, which is appropriate, Don, as we look at Greasy again out of the pocket, hitting Jim.
It was a good move by Greasy. He was going downfield, I think, trying to look for Warfield. He got a little pressure up the middle, moved out the outside, hit Mandich.
I haven't had time to tell you fellas yet, and I'm probably not going to have time now, but we were on it today here in Miami by the Mechanized Infantry 4th Division at Fort Carson College.
High snap. And this time Yepremian does not hit, but the little man has picked up 12 points already tonight, taken over the lead and scoring from his counterpart on the Pittsburgh Steelers, Roy Girella. And that's the end of the first half. We'll be back in Miami's Orange Bowl right after this.
What's the price of this Mustang, too?
Well, this two-door hardtop has a base sticker price, excluding dealer prep.
Destination charges, title, and taxes.
$28.95.
I see. $28.95. Okay, now, What's the price for those fancy buckets?
Well, there's no extra charge. They're standard.
What about all those gauges?
They're standard.
Ah, the tachometer. I have to pay extra for that, right?
No, it's standard.
What about this thick plush carpeting?
Standard.
Oh, wait a minute. This isn't a 3-speed transmission. It's a 4-speed.
Right. No extra charge.
No extra charge.
Mustang 2 also gives you good gas economy. Standard at no extra charge. Of course, there are options available.
Aha! What if I want white wall tires? Extra, right?
Yeah, it's $29.
The remarkably well-equipped Mustang 2. By all standards, it's the right car at the right time. See your Ford dealer.
Toma busts a drug ring Thursday night at 8, 7 Central.